Okay, the Zoom people, you can see this screen on your computer. Okay, so till now, if you look back, all the things we did, we had something like, okay, this is the pressure. We calculated the force, that pressure by multiplying the area. So we had something given, and we needed to find something unknown just by doing the algebraic equation or solution. This part of fluid mechanics, we will learn something different where we don't have like something is given, we need to find some unknowns. Rather, we will do something with a number of unknown parameters and how can we reduce the parameters to save time and the like how can we reduce the cost also. Okay, so that part we will do under dimensional analysis. So just to explain that, let's start with an example. So this is an example at aircraft here, and you need to, like when someone designs this aircraft, obviously they need to design what will be the available force on the wings, how can, like how strong you need to make the wings, what should be the length and something like that, right? So one important thing for designing the aircraft is what is the air force or airflow on top of that wings. Okay, so that is kind of the drag force created by the wing. And this drag force, that is actually the function of density of the fluid, okay, viscosity of the fluid, fluid velocity, and the length of the wings here. Now, this density of the fluid, density of air can be different for different heights, different temperature, different pressure. Viscosity of the fluid can be different also based on the same thing, different temperature, different height, different pressure. Fluid velocity, there can be different velocity for the air, and the length of the wings, it can be like 200, 100, like I don't know, it can be anything to withstand the drag force or something like that. So these are the four things which can affect the drag force. Now, when you will do on when you want to analyze the characteristics of the drag force, you need to consider all of these forces, right? Or all of these parameters. And one of the way to study the effect of these parameters on drag force, you need to do lots of experimentation. Like you will keep the fluid constant, or you will change the fluid density, and you will keep all the other three parameter constant. And you can do that like 10 times. You will change the viscosity 10 times and all the other parameters will be constant. You can change the velocity 10 times and you can keep the other parameters constant, same as for length. So just for this simple strategy, you need to do in total what, 40 experiments, right? That is just the simple strategy. Now, if you do the permutation combination with like 4 variables and you are changing 10 times, there can be 10,000s of experimentation, right? And you can imagine for doing this type of testing, you need the facility, you need the manpower, you need the time, and everything costs money, right? So if we could come up with something that we could reduce the total number of testing, it will be beneficial for everyone, right? Like in money wise, in work power wise. So in that point, dimensional analysis can help you. It can actually reduce the total number of variables. Now, tell me one thing. Out of these 4, if I just don't consider 2, we will have 2, right? But will that give us the total picture of the characteristics? If you don't use the velocity, just use the density, viscosity, and length, that will not give you the total characteristics of the drag force, right? So our main purpose is we want to keep all the parameters, but we want to reduce the total number of experimentation, right? So that's why we will do one, like we will use one procedure, which is called the dimensional analysis. And that is the lesson for today. Okay. So what we will do, in this way, we will try to come up with, like if we want to read the definition of dimensional analysis, a branch of mathematics that is used to organize all the variables into sets of dimensionless group. Okay. So initially we will have some dimensional numbers, but we will come up with dimensional groups. Tell me one dimensionless number you have used in fluid mechanics so far. Is there anything you have used which is dimensionless? You used one. Try to find out that. Which one? I'm helping you. It's related to density of something over density of water. Specific gravity, yes. So specific gravity, it is actually the dimensionless number, right? You don't need to worry about whether it's FPS or SI because it's dimensionless number. So just to remind you about that one. So we will come up with some dimensionless number in dimensional analysis also. Okay. So what we will do, to do that, we need to express each parameters by either mass length time or force length time dimension. Okay. So do you have that table in your copy, the table 8.1? Okay. So let's go through two examples how this table can work. Let's work with force first here. So MLT and FLT for force. For force, FLT, since it's force length time, and for M, it's mass length time. So for force, we don't have any length or time, it's just force here. So it will be just F. But for MLT, what we will do, I will just write down here, F equals to, we all know that equation, right? F equals to MA. Now, acceleration is what? Length over what? Length over time square, right? So for M, you can write down M. For length, you can write down L. For time square, you can write down T square. So finally, you will have M, L, T square. That is for force. Okay. Let's consider one more example, the mass one. Okay. So for mass in MLT system, there is no length, no time. You can just say it's mass M. Now for FLT system, we need to again work with this one. In A, right? And for F, it's F already. For A, we will have length times square. So for length, you can say it's L. For time square, you can say it's T square. So finally, you will have f t square, because this t square will go up, L minus 1. Okay. So finally it will be so just like this, you can express any quantity in terms of FLT or MLT by doing that. But the good thing is we will always have the table 8.1 with our lesson. So we can always come back to this table and check what will be the expression in MLT or FLT, right? So you got the idea. How can you find the dimension? Everyone? You got that idea? How can you find the dimension for each quantity in MLT and FLT system? Okay. So that will help us in dimensional analysis. Now, this method does not provide a direct analytical solution, like you will not get any solution in number wise, but it will help you to obtain the less number possible experimental value in a very simple way. Now, since we are planning to develop some dimensionless number from the dimensional analysis, we need to discuss a little bit about what are the available dimensionless number you can have in fluid mechanics. So mostly you will see 5 numbers in like fluid mechanics. I will just read the names, and I don't expect you to remember all the names right now. But when we will use that, you will see that like this number will come again and again. And another reason to give you this list is whenever we will have some dimensionless number, we'll just come back here and check which number is that. Okay. So one number is Reynolds number, which is very important for pipe flow. Next number is Froude number, which is very important for open channel flow. Next number is Euler number. Again, it is important for pipe flow. The Weber number is important for any surface tension related force, that one. And the last one is Mach number. That is very important for the compressible gas. And maybe you have heard the word like supersonic flow or subsonic, something like that. So Mach number is the one which decides whether the flow is supersonic or subsonic. Okay. So for this course, most of the time you will see the Reynolds number, Froude number, and the Euler's number, because we are not doing anything with surface tension, and we will do a very limited number of things on compressible fluid also. Okay. Are we good? Okay. Now, the process we will use for dimensional analysis, it's called the Buckingham-Pi theorem. It's not from England, Buckingham Palace. It's just the scientist who explained that. He was from Philadelphia, and his last name was Buckingham. So it was first introduced in 1875, and in 1990, Mr. Buckingham, he proposed, why don't we use pi, or why don't we name pi to all the dimensionless numbers? What is the dimension of pi, or unit of pi? Say it again. Nothing, right? Because pi is just number 3.1416, and you can write down the numbers for miles. Still that it will not be done, but they don't have any unit, and that is the main basis for using pi for all the dimensionless number in dimensional analysis. Okay. Okay. So the next part is the pi theorem statement. From this part, we will go a little bit slowly because this is something very new to you, and we will spend as much time as we need for this part. Okay. So the Buckingham Pi theorem, can anyone read the statement? And each of these grouping is called a pi term, right? Thank you very much. So they are saying if a flow phenomenon depends on n physical variables, okay, it can be suppose five physical variables, and if present with these physical variables are m primary dimension, like if you can express all of these variables by mlt or flt, then through the dimensional analysis, the n variable must be arranged into 5 minus. How many primary dimension we have here, FLT or MLT? How many primary variables we have here? FLT or MLT? 3, right? Okay. So 5 minus 3. This pen dropped from the table and now it's acting crazy. Okay. So just from this statement, you can see if you have 5 parameters and if you can express those parameters with this MLT, finally, you will come up with how many dimensionless numbers? 2. So that is kind of 60% reduction. You started with 5 and now you can work with only 2 variables, right? Now, in this class, what we will do, how can we do that? That is the thing we will do. So the steps are a little bit like it takes a little bit practice. So my plan is what we will do, we will go through the example 8.1. You have that. Do you have that, the practice problem 8.1 with you? Please open that. So the plan is we will go through that one first and then we will start our actual class example 20. Okay. And everyone, please go to page 4 of your class lecture and read the process to analyze. Here we will read one step at a time and we will see how they did the calculation here. Okay, so go to page number 4, process to analyze here. And who will read the class this practice problem 8.1? Read that very quickly so that we can start working on that. Ampa, you want to read that?
Establish the Reynolds number for fluid flowing through the pipe and figure attached to using dimensional analysis. Realizing that the flow is a function of the density and viscosity of the fluid, along with its velocity and the pipe size.
Thank you very much. So this is a very simple statement here. They're saying it's the pipe flow within the pipe, and this flow is a function of density, viscosity, its velocity, and pipe's diameter. So we have 4 parameters here, and let's see how can we reduce the numbers of parameters. Okay, so we will start with the step 1. What is the first step here? Someone from last bench, can you read the step 1? Thank you very much. So define the physical variable. That is the first step. They define the physical variables here: density, viscosity, velocity, diameter. Okay. And determine the number of variables. How many variables we have here? 4, right? N equals to 4. And they said that number of primary dimension. To get that, we need to go back to table 8.1. Can you go back to table 8.1? And you can check for density, that is the dimension. For viscosity, that is the dimension. For velocity, that is the dimension. For diameter, that is the dimension, right? Now, how many different dimension we have? We have M, right? We have L, and we have T. So how many different dimension we have? Primary dimension? 3, right? M, L, T. Okay. So our step 1 is done. We can also do, okay, our step is done. 1 is done. So step 2, who will read the step 2? Second last bench, someone, yeah, read the step 2. Okay, and there are a few conditions A, B, C. Would you mind reading those also? Okay. N minus M. Okay, so step 2 is we need to select some variables which will appear in every pi terms. And since they will appear in every pi terms, that's why it's called the repeating variables, like they will repeat each time. Now, for doing that, we have some conditions we need to make sure that we are doing that. The very first one is number of repeating variables equals to number of primary dimensions. So what was the number of primary dimensions for our case here? How many primary dimensions we had? 3, right? So we will have number of repeating variables will be what? 3. Okay, that's what they're saying, that the M3, that will be the number of repeating variables. Now, we will work with B later. Let's work with C first. What will be the number of pi terms? N minus M. So we have N 4, M 3. So how many number of pi terms we will have? Just 1. So we started with 4 variables, and once we will be done with these all the calculation, basically we will have just 1 variables. Okay. Now let's work with B. Collection of their dimensions should contain all the independent dimensions. So out of these 4, you can choose any 3, literally any 3. You just need to make sure that the collection of the dimension should contain M, L, and T. So it can be density, viscosity, velocity. It can be viscosity, velocity, diameter, because all of them have M, L, T in total. So any combination you can have. Since we are working with these worked out example, they took the first 3 as their repeating variables. I will just follow that one so that all the solution we can discuss based on these examples. Okay, so they decided these 3 is their repeating variables. Okay, and they have M, L, T all together. So we are done with step 2. Okay, step 3, third bench from the back. So someone from step 3, can you read step 3? Anyone? Who will read that? No one? Mr. Barmajian, do you want to read the step 3?
Select one term, multiply all by the m repeating variables, raise each of the m variables to an unknown exponent, but keep the q variable to a known exponent, usually 1 for simplicity. Repeat it many times as you
Thank you very much. So here for step 3, once we know number of pi terms, step 3 is we need to express the pi terms in such way that one term will be Q, which is not included in the repeating variables. So out of these four, which one we didn't consider for repeating variable? Yes, you need to answer me. Otherwise, I'll be behind again. So out of these four, we considered first three as repeating variables. Which one is not under the repeating variable? Which one? Diameter. So this one will be Q terms. Okay. And you see for pi term, they use Q equals to D because D was not the repeating variable. And you need to write down the pi term in such way, pi 1, all the repeating variables, pi, rho actually, not pi, rho, viscosity, velocity, and Q term is D, A, B, C, 1. That will be the pi term. We need to do some pre-calculus. I don't know if you can remember or not. In your pre-calculus course, you did something with exponent, like on both sides, you need to equate the exponent and find out some values. Do you remember anyone? Okay, that was a long time ago. So it's normal you don't remember, but we will do that here again. Okay. Okay, so that should be the pi 1. If we had multiple pi terms, it will be again same thing. For each one, we need to do something like that. Okay, so the very last one, dimensional analysis. Someone from the second bench from front who will read the step 4. You want to do that? Okay. Okay, so in this whole problem, the step 3 was the most important. Step 2 and step 3 to identify what will be the pi terms and everything. Here, step 4, we need to do some calculation. So what we will do, this pi rho A and we just discussed a few minutes ago, this pi is non-dimensional. That means it's 1, right? And do you remember that anything 1, that means you can say that anything to the power 0 equals to 1. Do you remember that? Anyone? Whenever something is 1, that means the exponent is 0. That's why you can say that 1. So what we will do for rho, ml to the -3, so multiplied with a. For mu, they did same here. So finally, let's identify how many m we have. 1, 2, and that is 1. How many L we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see here, we have 3 exponents here. How many T's we have here? 1, 2, and you can see we have this one. Now on this side, everything is 0. So 0, A plus B. For L, it's 0, 3A, B, C, 1. For T, it's 0, B, C. So from 3 equations, 3 unknowns, you can solve that. So that's what they did. Pi A equals to 1, B equals to -1, C equals to 1. Finally, they had this one. Now I will request you to go back to that dimensionless number page in your lecture copy. And can you tell me this number, this is similar to which one? Go back to this one. Here. The number you got, it is similar to which one? Can you tell me from that page? Is it similar to Reynolds number, Froude number, Euler's number, Weber, or Mach number, something like that? It is some sort of similar to Reynolds number, right? The Reynolds number, the actual one was rho V L mu. So L is length, D is here kind of the characteristics length. So you can say that this one is the Reynolds number. Now we started with 4 different parameters and you came up with just one number, and you can do 10 experiments with 10 different Reynolds number. You don't need to think about different length, viscosity, density, or something like that. Okay. Now, before we start working on the class example 20, all of you got the steps a little bit, like you can follow the steps. I don't expect you to remember these right now, but you can follow the steps with, like, you can keep the worked out example on one side and we can work on our actual class example 20. Yes or no? Say yes loudly so that I can hear. Okay, great. So what we will do, you can take 1 minute break, literally 1 minute. We will start working on our class example 20. You have that in front of you here. So what we will do, we will try to identify what are the variables, how can we work with each steps. And we have kind of 15 minutes. I'm expecting we can complete a good portion of that class example. Okay. So all of you have your class example 20 in front of you. Okay, let's start working on that. Mr. Kisling, do you want to read the class example 20?
The wing on the aircraft in figure 8-3 is subjected to a drag FD created by airflow over its surface. It is anticipated that this force is a function of the density rho and a viscosity mu of the air. The characteristic length L of the wing and the velocity V of the approaching flow show how the drag force depends on these variables.
Thank you very much. So this one is the one we just started our discussion at the very beginning of this lecture. So now we will try to actually calculate on that. How can we work with these variables? Now, the step 1 is define the physical variables, determine the number of variables n and number of primary dimension m. And they didn't mention anything here, so you can work with MLD or FLD system. I will work with FLT system for this one. Okay. Okay. So the first thing, determine the physical variables. The very first one was drag force, FD. Then the density, rho, viscosity, mu, the length of the wing, L, and the velocity, okay. So number of variables n. What will be the value of n? How many variables we are dealing with here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually, including the drag force, because we will consider that one also. So 5. Okay. Number of primary dimension, I don't know yet, but we will work on that. Okay, so can you go to table 8.1 and tell me what will be the expression for FD, because I can't work with two screen here. In FLT system, what will be the expression for FD? Go to table 8.1. Or 8.2, what is the table? Yeah, 8.1. Okay, so drag force F, it will be just F, right? For density, what is the expression? F and L to the power.
94.
Okay. For viscosity, F for viscosity mu, what will be the expression? F. Okay. For length, it's length. For velocity, it's this one, right? So how many different primary dimensions we have? We have F, we have L, we have T. So what is the number of primary dimensions here? 3. So how many numbers of n minus m? So how many pi terms we will have? 2. Okay. So we started with 5 parameters, and once we do all the analyze here, we will have 2 parameters. Okay. So we are done with step 1. Now the next step, repeating variables. That's what we will do for step 2. Okay. Everyone's done up to this point? Okay. So okay, this one was extra slide. So number 2, select the repeating variables and determine how many pi terms you will have in your analysis. We already know number of pi terms is 5 minus 3, 2. We already know that term. Number of repeating variables equals to number of primary dimension. So we need to have 3 repeating variables here. We need to make sure that collection of their dimensions should contain all the independent dimension here. Okay, so out of these 5, let's not consider FD as a repeating variable, because we are trying to find everything else on which the FD will depend on. So out of these 4, which 3 you want to consider as repeating variable? Any 3 will work, I guess, because that will give you FLT in total. Which 3 you want to consider? Density, viscosity, and velocity, these 3. All of you agree on that? Let's check if we have all of the things. So in between these, we have F, we have T, L, FLT. Yeah, that will work. So density, viscosity, and velocity, those are our repeating variables. Okay. That's not a problem. They said that the collection of their dimensions should contain FLT. So as long as in total they have FLT or MLT, you should be fine. Okay. So you said density, viscosity, velocity. Okay. So repeating variables density, viscosity, and what was the other one? Velocity. Okay. Okay. So we are done with our step 2 also, right? Okay. Now step 3. Are we done, everyone, with this one? Okay. So this one is extra page. We don't need that. Step 3. Select one term to be Q and multiply it by all the M repeating variables. Okay. So out of those 5, we considered 3 as repeating variables. So rest 2 we will consider as Q terms. So which are the variables we didn't consider as repeating variable? One is FD, I know. And what was the length, right? Okay, so those are the Q terms. And since we have 2 pi terms, we will have pi 1, pi 2. And we have repeating variables as rho, mu, velocity, rho, mu, velocity. And for pi 1, you can say FD, pi 2, L. Okay. And we will use A, B, C, 1, D, E, F, 1. Okay. So this is step 3. Okay. Now the step 4, where we will do all the calculation. We have 5 minutes. I think we can complete at least one, and that should be enough. So I'm moving to the next one. So I need to write down what are the pi 1 terms, rho, mu, v. Let's work with pi 1 terms, okay? First. So pi 1 was rho, mu, v, fd, a, b, c, 1. Okay. And since we are using FLT, I will write down F0, L0, T0. And for rho, we had FA, T2. Okay, I will write down one extra line so that you don't get confused. For rho, it was F T square L to the power 4 A. For viscosity, F T L to the power 2 B. For velocity, C. And for FD is F1. Okay. Are we good up to this point, like what we did here? Now what we will do, we will just equate on both sides for FLT. That's what we will do. So for F, for L, for T, 0 equals to 0 equals to 0 equals to. Okay, so for F, tell me, we have F to the power A, right? This one, this one, this one. So A plus B plus 1. Is that correct for F? Everyone? Okay, let's work with L. So L, we have this one, this one, this one. So 4A 2B plus C. Is that correct? Okay, this one is different from what I did in my solution. So I need to depend on your answer because final answer will be same, but the intermediate calculation will be different from my solution, what I had. So for T, we will use this one, this one, this one. So for T, we have 2A plus B negative C. Is that correct? Everyone, please check that. Okay, so from this one, can we get the result for A, B, and C? What will be the answer? We have 3 equations, 3 unknowns. So you need to do a little bit of calculation. So what we will do from this one, you can use any steps you want to do for 3 unknown, 3 equation. I don't mind as long as you have the answer. So A equals to B minus 1. You can use this one into this equation. And here, oh, it will be a long calculation. You can use the calculator. Do you have calculator which can solve the equation? 3 equation, 3 unknown. This one. So finally, we will have 4B plus 4. Okay, I will stop here, but you know the steps, and most probably I will record this the solution for these examples also, so you will have that. Please watch that, and good luck for your test. I will see you on Wednesday. Please stop by with any question about homework, any test or something like that, and I will see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much.